Revelations chapter 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto death. Thunderous words out in reference to my name. Well, I had to deal with Janice. I'm a person, I'm very confrontive. I've always been very confrontive, even with Janice.
That's the young lady that
I introduced to the church, right? If I have a problem, Deirdre, you're a witness. You know me.
I do.
I'm going to tell you in your face, I can't stand a backbiter. I can't stand a two-faced, backbiting person.
No, you can't.
I'm not like that.
Right.
If I got a problem with you, I'm going to talk to you. And so, back to my friend Janice. I kept her at a distance. I let people know that she was a person that, I looked to her, I looked up to her like a big sister because she's older than me, okay? Very intelligent. She got, really she has a split personality. I didn't know I was dealing with a split personality, but again, as I look hindsight, I grew up with the guy, he began to unveil who she really was. But, very intelligent, and she could just, just win you over with her personality. She had a great personality. She could, just win your love and your friendship. She worked on that. That was her priority. She loved her friends, and she wanted all her friends to look up to her. That she spent time, that was her ideal, just way of living a life, is just having your friends and they loving you and you being there for them. I think she really wanted to, just be the apple of our eye, all of her friends, And so I loved her unconditionally. I saw some issues, from the very beginnings, with when I even consider her dealing with her neighbor. And but I didn't know how to deal with it, I didn't know what it was, because I recall, like, for instance, one neighbor, she was a young lady, and she seemed to love Janice too, and Janice, and, and when she left, I just remember this particular time, the young lady left, went home, and Janice tore her up. She was like, just evil. I just saw this evil personality lash out on this young lady, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, okay, this girl, it appears that this girl really likes Janice, and just, she's just one with Janice's personality, her friendship, and I'm like, I don't know what the problem is, but there's a problem. And that was recorded, and we proceeded on, and it was like Janice came back. I don't know who that was Eveline. But Janice came back, and most of the time that I was around her, she would be, this, bubbly personality Janice, talking about what she's gonna do with her life. She had an ego. It was about her. She was talking about herself all the time. Very, had a lot of pride and egotistical, And that's another thing that sort of pushed me away too, because after a while, it was just too much, and it wasn't just my disposition. My brother had an experience with her, and he said that he took out, and he was like, man, he couldn't wait. That's what his testimony was. Couldn't wait to he got her home, drove her home. He was like, see you later, And so I'm not trying to be funny, because she's very endearing, a part of her. She didn't mean to be, but that's the characteristic of those who burn fire. And at that time, I didn't know she burned. Right. Okay, that's the characteristic of even of Creflo Dollar. He had people complaining how arrogant he was when I didn't know he burned. But he burnt too as a minister. So those are the characteristics that follow unauthorized fire, and it is what it is. And so, but nevertheless, I looked up to her. I would drive around a lot, we go to the malls. I was doing the driving, okay? And that's just the way it was. But I would, we would call each other every, once a month or, maybe 2 months, But I wasn't up under her. But my other friend, who was a big sister, and they're about the same age, they were closer.
Right.
And they spent a whole lot of time together.
Right.
That's Lee. That's the friend who died, okay? And when I was first introduced, when my mother left my father and coming to Decatur, we were introduced to these families, and Lee was a family that we were introduced to, and I was a small kid. So at any rate, I knew them from way back separately, but I never knew them together, but they were friends.
Right.
And so I just recall, speaking, going back to the point that I'm very confrontive, after we had matured and everything, and, I was like, I don't like having no kind of, I don't know if the word is shades between a person, if that's the word, they use the word shades a lot, I don't know, but walls or what have you, I like to be real, and I remember, talking to Janice, and I said, I want to talk to you about some things that's on my heart, and because I don't like having walls up, and I let her know, that I really liked her, I love my friendship, I love, how, basically, you've been there for me, I'll be there for you, you know what I'm saying? Just engaging, just having conversation, because we had the type of conversation, if I didn't talk to you for 3 or 4 months, it was like, when I did talk to you, hey, it's the same old, say what's going on, it was like that, and
I observed that with you guys. I know that you really loved her. What I saw from you, you loved her. You treated her like a big sister.
Right.
And you admired her.
I did.
Gifts. Just a great friend.
Right.
She was really a great friend, except for like what you're saying.
Right. I never talked about it to you.
No, you didn't.
It wasn't until we became into all this complication that you heard anything about her. I admired her, and I don't practice talking behind people's backs. So I talked to her, but I talked to her about the things that I did have a problem with. I finally confronted, her with the fact that I had issues with, just I felt like sometimes just she was overbearing with just ego and her just arrogance, and I just shared with her some things that God had even showed me about her future, and stuff, and she was like, she was upset. I think she was upset, she was like, nobody's ever told me that I was arrogant or whatever, but I even overheard her sister telling her that she's the most arrogant person, in my presence. Right. But I wasn't trying to be funny. I was just trying to just clear up some things that I felt necessary to clear up, because I remember particularly her during the time when her father passed. She was just very mean, like she was with that neighbor that I, saw her. It's like this personality came up and she was hollering at everybody. Right. And I couldn't deal with her hollering at me because I wasn't used to that, and I backed off.
Right.
And I was like, I can't be around her, and I just went home. I didn't have anything to do with her, the funeral, because I couldn't deal with that, And I remember, I think Lee was over there at the time, and I think she was pregnant with a baby out of wedlock, and we were just dealing with this whole new personality, and I wasn't used to it, and I found some issues with that, because I was like, I really would have liked to have been there for her, but I couldn't, and I told her I wasn't there because of what I experienced, and I told about what my brother had said, and so, I'm just sharing, I'm confrontive, I'm going to tell you up front. And then, after the initiation of the public demonstration, when they said my name went across the world, and they were saying all kinds of things that I just couldn't imagine them saying, okay, God allowed me to come back into her presence. And, my mom had passed, and I spent some time with her. I stayed, And but the Lord allowed me to go stay with her, I think, because he wanted me to see, what was going on behind closed doors. And at the time, I still wasn't aware that she burnt fire. But God, as he called me into this public demonstration, he let me know, oh, she burned. This is why this transpired when I spent time with her. But I confronted her then. I said, they're telling me, I'm telling you, I'm going through this public demonstration. They're saying that some words have been put out by Bishop Del Bronner, and they said, you, Janice, you said some things that that I just, I can't imagine you saying. And she just, she bluffed it out. She was like, I don't talk about a lot of people. I don't know what I said, as though it's some trivial matter. And she just went all over it and just engaged me with her personality like I'm her best friend. Right. And nothing was, I wouldn't do anything to hurt you. Okay? So I just role play. God said, I want you to role play. You take your little tail on over there. And, and so I did. And during my stay over there, I'm telling you, she let me know, she prepared me. She was like, my house is a little cluttered. Please, just excuse. I said, okay. But God, he introduced me. He wanted me to go over there because he exposed, along with some other friends that I had, that she burnt fire. And he was letting me know, as I look in hindsight, he was just letting me know what's going on behind closed doors and proving the fact that as these people get older, burning that fire, hey, they degenerate, their minds are cluttered, and I'm telling you, things are just not the same. And there's a parallel with all those people who burn fire, the different aspect. It's a parallel with everybody on my platform. I could pick out things that they said and things that they did. And so, I told about the public demonstration. I recall her saying, she can just, she can imagine herself getting behind closed doors, talking to Oprah Winfrey. You remember she said that? She said, man, I can talk with her behind closed doors. And I'm like, like the way you talked to Del Bronner when I left the church. And she's still not being upfront with me, talking to me. Okay? But during my stay there, I'm telling you, her house, I can deal with people who got clutter. Everybody have clutter from time to time. But a person of her caliber, and the intelligence that she
portrays,
right, that she demonstrates, that she portrays, you wouldn't think, you couldn't imagine, what's going on behind closed doors and behind the scene. And indeed, I really believe God, he sent me over there for her daughter, because she was doing a whole lot of things behind closed doors, and God was letting me know her daughter could be kidnapped because of the different things that she was involved in. She was involved with other men. God let me know she was dealing with other men, and the daughter wasn't aware of it. But while she's at work and the daughter's coming home, the man can come over there and anything can happen to her daughter. And indeed, there were phone calls, and so all those different things were exposed. And I even talked to her about some things, as a Christian. She kept saying, I'm a Christian woman, but no, it was evident that, hey, you got a relationship, and God exposed the fact while I was over there that her and Del Bronner, they had an adultery relationship. And indeed, this is the reason why they slandered my name. It was a cover-up, okay? Right. And, while I was over there, I'm telling you, her daughter, I stayed in her daughter's room. The room was set up the way it was, when the daughter moved in. She was a little girl. Okay, the child is in high school now. She was being introduced to high school, 8th, 9th grade high school. And the room, it had paper doll cutouts from when they first moved over there. It had never been swept behind the room. And I just gave the room a whole renovation. Right. It really gave her a look that she could have, after I left. This is what you can do to your room, No one had trained this young girl. It was like a 5-year-old room. Okay. The tub, she was like, okay, you can use this tub. The tub wasn't just dirty. I never seen a tub like that in my life. You know how some people can take a bath and leave a ring around the tub? It'd be a ring, you know. You may not, you know, you used to a ring, you know, and that's nasty. You could they clean your tub, but the whole tub was like the ring. You know, the part that, you know, the wall to the shower, the whole thing, it was black.
Right.
I had never seen it. And she apologized for it, saying it's those new tubs, they plastic, and it's like it's hard to get it clean. Now her bathroom, her tub was marble and white, clean, but her daughter's tub, I'm telling you, it was nasty. It was dark, you know, and it's like, you know, I knew what to do because, you know, my mother clean. Her mother clean. Her mother was I think she worked at a hotel. She was a maid servant, so she clean, you know. And when Janet's sister stayed with her, Janet. I'd like to give you the opportunity to support the work of this ministry financially. The truth of the gospel is buried in the debris and the ashes of the world system's fire. Because of the church, many false prophets, preachers, and teachers burn candles and incense unauthorized. They've turned the truth of the gospel into a lie. They are perpetuating witchcraft around the world, controlling the people's minds across the lands through working spells, mixing the truth with the lies. Indeed, this is a sign of the times. We're in the last days, days of great deception, days of gross darkness, where spiritual adversaries and principalities are everywhere carrying out the curse of the law. Your generosity equips us to share the gospel that Jesus Christ taught to millions of people around the world. We are spreading light and God's holy messengers throughout the lands through the preaching of the word, our daily prayers, and authorized prayer rituals. On bended knees, we lift you and your family up before God. We humbly thank you, our friends and partners, for your support. Nothing blesses us more than to see lives changed by the gospel of Jesus Christ. It is simply priceless. To support us, you may call us, write in, or give online. Your generosity enables us to stop misfortune in the lives of others. May God bless you many times over for your seed donations. Thank you so much for your special gift to this ministry. We love you so much.